everyone. Welcome back to Making and our Marriage Matters series. Last week we chatted about effective communication, and today we're diving into something just as important, conflict resolution. We all have disagreements, right? But how we handle them can make all the difference. So let's go through some practical tips to help you and your spouse navigate those tricky moments. Tip number 1, acknowledge the inevitable. Max Lucado once said, conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. The reality is conflicts will happen. It's natural in any relationship, but you get to choose whether to make it a full-blown battle. Instead of avoiding disagreements, focus on handling them in a more healthy and constructive manner. I, for one, have to remind myself of this often. My husband has a knack for poking the bear when I get upset. It's all about understanding each other's ways of dealing with conflict. Remember, it's not about avoiding the conflict, but managing it well. Accepting that conflicts are inevitable helps you tackle them with a positive mindset. So tip number 2, stay calm and listen actively. So I told you my husband likes to poke the bear. Sometimes I think he does it on purpose, even though he says he doesn't. But he tells me he doesn't always realize how serious things are. He tries to bring humor into the situations, but he knows when to tread lightly. When things get heated, it's easy to interrupt and escalate. We start playing the blame game. The first step to resolving conflict is to stay calm and listen. Really listen. This means fully hearing your spouse's perspective without planning your comeback. So here's a simple trick. Repeat back to your spouse what you hear them say. For instance, my husband mentioned his frustration when I don't put the key back on the rack. I responded, so you feel frustrated when I don't put the key on the rack because it's important to you. It might sound simple, but showing you're engaged can prevent misunderstandings and make a big difference. Tip number 3, focus on the issue and not the person. You're a team. You need to work together to solve the problem. And one great way to do this is to list how each of you contributes to the issue. For example, in our key fob dilemma, my husband admitted he fusses and nags. I admitted I leave the key in my purse and point out when he doesn't do it. We had a laugh, but it made us realize that neither of us was solely to blame. We both needed to mind our tongues. Attacking the person instead of addressing the issue only makes things worse. Tip number 4, take a time out if needed. We learned this from a couple married for 50 years during a church seminar. When things get too heated, call a time out. This prevents you from saying something that you'll regret. And I hate saying I'm sorry. Taking a time out helps me to cool down and come back ready to talk rationally. But remember, if you call a time out, set a time to come back and discuss the issue. Whether it's 15 minutes, an hour, or even 24 hours, make sure you reconvene to resolve it. Tip number 5, compromise and find common ground. Listen, you're in this together. Sometimes you have to compromise. Work together to find a solution that satisfies both of you. A great method is to brainstorm ideas. Each of you list 5 possible solutions. Discuss and evaluate each one, then agree on a solution to try. Figure out how each of you will contribute to it and set a date to review your progress. I could share one solution for the one key fob dilemma, but it's a long story, so instead check out the little short video that I made for a good laugh. Tip number 6, seek professional help if needed. I'm not a marriage expert. I'm sharing what's worked for us over the past 25 years. Some issues are bigger than a key fob. Your marriage matters. Do whatever it takes to keep it going. There's no shame in asking for help. It shows your commitment. Look for a licensed marriage and family therapist or consider online counseling services. So to recap, we've covered acknowledging the inevitable, staying calm and listening actively, focusing on the issue, not the person, taking a time out if needed, compromising and seeking professional help. These tips can make a significant difference in your relationship. If you found these tips helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts and questions, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content on building a strong, healthy marriage. For more in-depth tips and hilarious personal story about our own communication journey, visit my blog at makenmacon.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.